Esta semana décima semana de la energía. Estamos acá con un panel de lujo, así que se los voy a presentar de inmediato.
And I will introduce them to you. The goal of this session, of this conversation, is to open the conversation. What role do they play? How we're incorporating innovation, diversity of lookouts? What's a human factor that characterizes us? And how we're looking at the role we're supposed to be playing. It's a pleasure for me to be here with this great panel. My name is Maria Paz Alvear. I'm a legal manager of Gasvalpo, and I'm joined here straight from Italy, the president of the International Gas Union, Andrea Steger, who I welcome warmly and appreciate his presence here. I also have here Bastiano Osorio, the head of renewable gases of Metrogas, also Belén Aravena, contact manager from NGI, and Edgar Blanco, responsible of engineering of Andes, and Natalie Martinez, sub-manager of People. If General Quinteros, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. And once again, welcome to this conversation that we hope to be fluid, respecting the margins of time. From that point of view, let's go to Andrea. And I wanted to ask, from your global outlook, how is gas reposition in this current world? What's the role you assign to it, to natural gas, and how do you see it into the future? Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you. Thank you, Carlos Cortés, and the Association of Chilean Gas, especially for being able to be a part of a panel with such youth energies. We're not fossil. Well, they are, maybe I am. Now, seriously, as the president of the International Gas Union, I represent around 70 countries around the world, although chain value and 90% of the world gas. With that, I'm comfortable to say that gas today is 1/4 of the world energy. 25% of the energy in the world is gas. So it's a fundamental panel, and it's what we all need in the world. And the amount of energy that the population, the industry, the thermoelectric companies, electricity in general require to grow. So we need to continue to invest in broadening our options. In that sense, the gas industry does not only provide trust and certainty of supply, but it's flexible, it's viable, it's multiple. We have heard a lot talking about electricity. Data. And electricity is 1/5 of the energy we are using. So gas has the capacity of conjugating molecules that are more important in the sense that they reduce the carbon intensity. I will finish with a reference to what we have published, which is the manifesto. The site. Because the capital G, it's not, or it already is. It's to indicate that gas means natural gas, biomethane, hydrogen, all the technological solutions and innovation that this industry is performing today. And we are, Shannon and I like to go back to the term evolution because I have talked about transition for over a decade and I'm a bit tired of it because we have lost the sense of what transition actually means. So we have an active role to perform in this evolution. And I'm really positive with the role of gas. So gas is
Bueno, y a propósito de los gases en su más amplio sentido, toda molécula gasífera.
So gas in its broad sense, all the gas molecules. I wanted to ask Bastian, what's the real potential of renewable gas in Chile? What's your outlook? Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to thank the instance of the organizers, the sponsors to create it and to be a part of, for being able to be here. As context, first, it's important that today we have a project that injects biomethane to the distribution network of Metrogas. This is the Farfana project located in Biofactoría, property of Aguas Andinas. It's a plant that produces biomethane that it's injected to the distribution network of Metrogas. It injects around 10 million cubic meters of natural gas. That's over 25,000 homes that are supplied with this renewable gas. Going back, what's biomethane? As I'm telling you, it's natural gas, renewable, but at the same time, it's equivalent. This biomethane is produced through purification or concentration from biomethane that's extracted from gas, from biogas that it's created through the degradation of organic matter that is in organic residue. This degradation is created naturally or in an environment deprived of oxygen, in a landfill, naturally, for example, or in a digester, which is a construction dedicated to produce biogas and to treat organic residue. It's important. Going back to the question, we have already a project that it's injecting biomethane to the network. It's pioneer in Latin America, and we have participation
Recording in
in
progress.
7 regions in the central south region of the country, and we can even triple the injection happening in La Farfana. As Metrogas, we are focused on boosting this, and we want to continue to talk about energetic evolution, and we want to be very clear about this. When it comes to the benefits for the environment and the climate change, it's a great initiative, right? Yes, it comes from a renewable origin as well. When it comes to hydrogen, it can be used in a blending with natural gas between 5 and 20% of the mix. It depends. And it's important to consider that it depends on the infrastructure and the materials in the network where we want to inject this hydrogen. This, when if, and why renewable gases can have an important role in evolution is because we don't need to change the actual infrastructure. To get to that, we have this mixture limitation if we do not want to invest and start with new investments, because today Metrogas has around 6,700 kilometers of distribution network constructed, and that equals 1.5 times the length of the country. So it would be a very important intervention. We have a pioneer project that does the blending, and we expect to reach 20%, which is Gasvalpo in Coquimbo. We have been developing this for a few years and it's operative. So we have innovation right now. And now when it comes to innovation, Belen, I wanted to stay on topic and check how technological innovation has had an influence in you, in the outlook from NGI. How have you been incorporating these new advances in this new era? First of all, as Bastian did, thank you for the invitation, AGN, for creating this instances to talk about important subjects like energy. I would like to share how NG sees this transition process, because when we talk about walking to carbon neutrality is a long way, and in NG we have committed to accelerate the process to move forward towards an economy that's carbon neutral, and we look for solutions that are efficient energetically, but as Maria Paz said, they have to be sustainable, friendly with the environment. And for that, from 2019, ENGIE has closed carbon centrals hand in hand with this commitment to move to an environment that's a lot more sustainable and friendly. Natural gas is the important and fundamental pillar in this situation, as Andrea said, providing flexibility, safety, and competitivity, because we go to natural gas that provides certain faculties in the electric system, because they broaden the matrix that we have right now, and it is one that allowed to decrease the use of contaminant energies, and it provides competitivity because, for example, in the north of the countries where we develop economy at a national level, and as ENGIE, we have pillars in infrastructure to develop natural gas in the industry. This year, we celebrate 25 years of the Norandino gas duct, which is 1,060 kilometers throughout Chile and Argentina, 680 within Chile, and the other 380 in the Argentinian side, which allow us to reach our industrial and mining clients easily in the northern part of the countries, but also allow us to have an income not only of gas from the terminals, but also from Argentina when it's possible. Therefore, why do I mention gas and other actions from ENGIE? Because it's not only to say, to provide intentions or to talk about moving to a carbon neutral time, but we need to take action. As I told you, we need to close carbon centrals. We need to transform areas that we used to contaminate now to create clean energy, and to have an agenda that's being modified to be free of carbon by 2027, and to move along with natural gas, because we cannot coexist with the energies that we have right now. Answering your question, artificial intelligence and innovation is here to stay. We know that. And this year, in Mejillones, we used predictive methods to analyze the behavior of critical actives in high pressure and low pressure pumps, vapor pumps, and other equipments that are part of the process. So what's the point of this? It is that you can have in your control room the machines and their behavior in an actual picture, but this predictive model will show you how it will behave throughout the years. So you can tell if in a short or medium term amount of time they will present failures. So what this allows is to take preventive measures to lower costs. You can have maintaining that's reactive, that's not reactive, because it's extremely expensive, and it allows to extend the use, the life shelf of the equipment, and we can be responsible, trustworthy, and safe as we promise. And we are opening other businesses in NG, even on a world level. It sounds 2050, but we are just in 2025. I'm really surprised. You never stop being surprised. Now, a sector as a terminal G in Mejillones, and then we go to the gas duct that seem to be relatively rigid structures. How will you incorporate innovation and change the way in which they evolve in the industry? In your case, Edgar from Gasandos, the operators from Argentina that distribute in Chile as well. How do you look at this innovation? How do you incorporate it? Thank you for the invitation to this interesting panel. The value chain in the industry. We have always been in an intermediate phase of transport because we need to take the gas from the wells upstream and then send it to the clients. All this infrastructure, in our case, as Gasandos, we have compressor plates and a gas duct of 463 kilometers that interconnects Chile and Argentina. The interesting thing about this project is the interconnection between both countries, and that in between we have a cordillera that divides us. It's one of the biggest in the world, so it's complicated to understand how this kind of projects where we need to go over the cordillera and there are elevations where we had to weld the pipes, etc. How this was done and how it's operated. Basically, the answer to that is we have had a very rigid team and very good team. And all the technologies with natural gas in the industry have had a high level, high standard in everything related to the management of the traceability of the gas duct in general. So during the last 5 years, we had to evidence how artificial intelligence has had an impact because natural gas are fossil or non-flexible technologies, but they provide a big impact. And we should look at 5 success cases. For example, ILI inspection is a method or technique where we can evaluate the integrity of the gas duct, and they go through our infrastructure looking for corrosion or problems with that internally. We have done this year by year, but from 2021, there was a certain change, and with artificial intelligence, all the storage and analysis of the data has been fast and efficient. And basically, it's been happening that people or group of people had to analyze the data. And now with the artificial intelligence and machine learning, we get the update of everything we have, and we get to know the traceability and to know that we are doing everything correctly. Additionally, we, in the past, had the overseeing of the gas duct, looking at the servitude. So there was a person with a plane that knew where it was located, and that person would take picture. So with an effort of the integrity team, we moved to drones that with artificial intelligence are well georeferenced, and we can tell if there are any issues with machines. And with other technologies, we have the digitalization that through normative, we need to save every document, all the information we used to build the gas duct. And we are moving in these libraries where we had all this paperwork. And through artificial intelligence, we are looking for We can find anything very easily. Remotely, it was complicated to have communication if we didn't have optic fiber. Now, with all this starting internet, you can have communication with any station and you can have traceability as such. And lastly, but last but not least, there are several technologies we have been studying where we install optic fiber probes that allow us to evaluate the gas duct day by day, minute by minute, in case there's any intervention or in our infrastructure. I can tell that innovation has been a part of the operation in itself because it was built thinking in a constant block. It goes to a high volatility with the cuts and changes from Argentina that allow a volume that's quite discontinuous. It was designed to work 24 hours a day. In now with everything that's happening, we need to have equipment and work whenever it's necessary and to have everything available.
Innovation not only goes with technology, but also with the human factor, which allows us to do the same things and in a different way. And I would like to go to Natalie, whom specifically want to see your view from Quintero, another terminal hub that it feeds the rest of Chile. How have you seen innovation and diversity, culture, and inclusion? What is your vision on this? Well, first, good afternoon, and to add to the appreciations of our panelists, partners for this great opportunity. First, I wanted to emphasize that effectively, and as you hear, the gas industry is at a moment, a very exciting moment. I would say it marks a unique opportunity to be able to review these subjects, to be able to see how effectively, as you pointed out, the human factor helps to cover the solutions and alternatives assessed, because effectively transformation is sustained on the human. It's not sufficient with projects and technologies and new businesses, which generally are part of strategic planning of all the businesses, but analyzing how this impacts people, what type of competencies we will need to call to the future, and how we are prepared as organizations culturally to be able to face these new changing scenarios which are to come. And in this sense, I think one of the main things is, I don't know if I'm who to give a suggestion, but I think it's important that all companies of our sector assess that to consider it as a human opportunity more than the technical, further than just the technical, to incorporate value, to incorporate talent, to see how as a company we are offering conditions so that people can develop these alternatives. It's crucial and a point that comes to, as I've said, cover the new challenges that are generated. And to mention that at Quintero we are happy because last year and formally since January of this year, we have given steps towards formalizing our diversity, equality, and inclusion politics, which establish our commitments on the subject, defining work access, as Belen said concretely, regarding generations and intercultural aspects, which is part of the DNA of Quintero's terminal, and gender equality and people with disabilities, which I think having a policy of DEI is part of the first steps that this process should be considered. We don't want this to be just a pretty document hanging on the wall that would only consider a dream that was never realized, but of work that is being participative, filled with different tools of the organization. We're doing work tables, focus group in some way to gain this process with the goal of being able to construct initiatives that are in line with the view that we have as company of how we wish to continue building the process. So I would say, and answering your question, Maria Paz, the management of diversity, equality, and inclusion is fundamental to become an inclusive company today and also attractive for young talent because we've all heard and literature is broad and it's known that young people, millennials are not anymore because we're going out of fashion. These young people want companies with purpose who have impacts on the society they are in. They want environments where you can explore possibilities of development, competencies, and to be part of decision making with leadership which is capable of building, incorporating these views and integrating them into business decisions. So to work equality, diversity, and inclusion in a policy with a roadmap and initiatives that connect with this business vision and with people, facilitate opening dialogue and knowing certain points where new generations know, want, and if they are in organizations or not, and how, because it's different when you have a conversation with people and try to know them better and you generate sufficient space so that these things make better sense and a clear path of where to operate. So in some way, DEI opens the door to be able to know your people and to construct initiatives which are able to cover subjects which are important for innovation and for the future of work and for the competencies that the organizations require. And in this sense, to finish, all of the work somewhat realizes how companies work culturally, these processes. People management, for some time now, it has been said, has to be part of company strategy. The energy resilience that gas represents in transformation and evolution, as Andrea said, of the Chilean power grid is only possible when people work interdisciplinarily, cooperatively with an organizational purpose. Thank you, Natalie. The power sector, it goes in hand with the personal evolution as people begin to offer the possibility of evolving, as people, without a doubt, with a place that will bring new talent. At least I am convinced that this is a quite fun and challenging sector day to day to be present in. So thank you very much for your vision and sharing with us. I just wanted to add that at the level of the Natural Gas Association, we're working on sustainability, elaborating a initial report of sustainability pointing towards diversity. We built the women's table, reviewing women's participation in power sectors, quite low still, 30%. We are still putting efforts so that this is on the rise. And this would be one of the strong mentions of the board of the National Gas Association, and we are firm on this to be part of evolution. Now, we also wanted to share with you a final question round because I want to review it and not avoid missing it. And we wish to previously review how do you see does natural gas support to Chile's power evolution? What is the role do you assign it for public policies, how it fits on what you see maybe of the policy? So what role can it play and what's missing for a more preponderant role, a more dominant role? Maybe the case will be left for the end so it can be talked about internationally, maybe. Yes, specifically. Let's start with Natalie. So I believe that as part of what we've talked about, definitely gas has a role, an habilitating role in its energy evolution. I would summarize reliability and resilience. It's not possible to change without a basis that allows to continue the process, unfortunately. Edgar? My vision, I consider that gas will give viability to the incorporation of new technologies. It's a technology, it's a flexible technology, a robust technology that has from some time solidness in the system. Additionally, we, at not only at gas level, but at infrastructure level, with the Argentinian and Chile side, could take charge of or realize the second highest source of the world of a competitive gas, but everything that has to do with, you're talking about Vaca Muerta, right? Yes. On the other side of the mountain range, we're referring to that reserve on the other side from Argentina. Yes, on our behalf, we believe that natural gas is fundamental in its role. But however, you've mentioned, we still think that there are public policies still missing that tend to help towards the development of business through natural gas, as Andrea mentioned, and the power sector only forms a small part of the whole market if we wish to work towards carbon neutrality. And we believe that natural gas is fundamental together with other renewable technologies, as you've mentioned. But we believe that natural gas never left. It's not coming back. It's just happening that things remind us of its important role in our matrix, in our resources. Bastian? Personally, I think that natural gas has a partner role to energy evolution because all evolution requires sustainability. In this case, of environmental and economic sustainability, which is important, which is the energy that we all consume. And it is in this role, I think, that natural gas is whom allows to be a complement while the matrix looks towards a cleaner grid and will take charge that this change, this system, maintain the security, safety through stability, flexibility, and all the reliability that natural gas can offer. Thank you very much. It's that joining of renewable gases which somewhat arrived with the idea of displacing natural gas. And natural gas, how do you see that game? And regarding energy evolution, well, maybe with the gas with the capital G subject, the possibility of having more options. Each country, each situation has its own characteristics. If I talk of biomethane in Brazil, it's clear that they have huge potential. In Japan, it's IMSA. You can't have anything different. In this sense, then natural gas, it's clear that has a very brilliant future because the demand for power is impressive regarding the future. Now, looking more at Chile, it seems to me that there is a very good opportunity, a concrete opportunity of looking at innovation cases in the market of today. It's clear that we have to push forward towards public policies, recognize the value of these projects, which not only are pilot, but they have to gain scale. To gain it, we also have to open the doors to collaborations, of course, and discuss less shyly with the fact that gas may play a role today in decarbonizing other sectors which are in like the industrial and transport and others. So when we get back from 2050, we must remind that according to studies, its trajectory, it's not only to reach 2050 is the key. We have a fundamental role in joining these resources. We are part of the solution. We are not only the solution, but I am very doubtful of just one unique solution, but we are fundamental in the solution, the pragmatic solution that is required. And how, from our role of our companies in Chile in applying the international example, how can we achieve calling the attention and support of these public policies that may bring us towards positioning gas to the role that is corresponding through better marketing, I would say. Yes, we have to make the most of our guest, right? I like the mention of artificial intelligence, of biomethane, and everything mentioned. We have technical groups where we've shared experiences and benchmark globally. And this may make much sense to enrichen the intercommunication capability to understand what works or what doesn't work in other parts of the world and see how to implement it in their own country. It's clear that it's not copy-paste to say this, but always with the collaboration that we are promoting, we enriching knowledge and capacity and the culture, of course, because you can't say that discussing with the Chinese or the Saudi or the Saudi Arabian citizens or parts of the world is quite rich, right? So the AU may be an important platform to enjoy because it has the capacity of adding value to. And what I see is that we are also evolving ourselves. I have personally a focus on a more important role of women and youth because they are the future, but also the present. Absolutely. It seems that integration, which there's a panel on the subject here, so there's the key of how we integrate in companies with Argentina and other countries in the region, right? So, due to time, we are reaching the end of our brief debate, and I wanted to restart with the idea that it seems that natural gas is in a process of evolution where we've incorporated elements for innovation of new technology, of a diverse, more humane point of view, that we are facing an industry that was seen more rigid when associated to only gas ducts. It's much more complex, and it's at a stage where there's a quite auspicious future for it. In natural gas, we believe that the future is built when we had experiences, visions, and share not only of the region and the capital, but of other technologies and different points of view. And thus, we will begin to form a more sustainable sector in time. And we're definitely goes more than just 2050 because that we're back. So on behalf of the Natural Gas Association, we wish to thank everyone's presence, specifically for our panelists, and evidently Andrea for being here with us on our panel. So thank you very much and have a good afternoon. Thank you very much to these great panelists in Maria Paz. We invite them to take their picture to commemorate the moment.